Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Demira Inspires. I am glad that you all decided to join yet another video, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Today I have a special guest, my mom, Yolanda White. She is a pastor. She is my mother. The whole significance of doing this video is talking about motherhood and ministry. And so just to give a little background history, my mom is, she's always been a full-time mom. She's always been a leader in the church. She actually finished her bachelor's degree when we were younger, and she went on to achieve a master's degree, and now she's working on another master's degree. So that's a little background of her. And so I'm going to ask her a few questions about balancing mother and ministry.
Hi, glad to be here.
I'm gonna ask 4 questions.
It's definitely a balance that's needed to be able to do those things, because some of the struggles that I face with being able to spend the quality time with the reading as I wanted to, with trying to balance everything, but you definitely make it happen. But you have to have determination to get it done. You have to make sure that you are spending that time with God, because ultimately He is the one that give you everything you need to be able to do the things that you're doing, such as being a mom, being a pastor, and all the other things that we do. So first and foremost, making Him priority is what I had to do and what I still do.
I remember when I had just gave birth to Tiana, and I remember before I had Tiana, like I had a lot of time spent with God. I was like really good with praying. So when I had Tiana, a lot of that had lacked, and I remember having a conversation with you, and you were telling me like where you are now will not be, it's not permanent.
Right.
So I remember that conversation we had, and I just decided to add that onto that question.
Yeah, because we work in seasons in our lives with several things that happens to us, and so although you're having to change some things up and be attentive to your child, you still have that time. It may not be as much time, but it's not going to always be that way, because raising you all, I went through seasons where I had lots and lots of time, and then there were times when I ultimately did not feel like I had enough time. But those seasons change, and so you go with your season that you're in, because God knows that you have to be attentive to the new beginnings that's happening in your life, such as your child and learning motherhood all at the same time. And at the same time, you're still giving Him quality time, because you have to pray yourself through that. You have to pray yourself through that experience of how to be a mom, how to be the mom that He expects, and the mom that you desire. So that incorporates you praying and asking God and leading you and guiding you into the things that you need to do to be that mom. Because remember, ultimately there's no perfect mom, but there's a perfect God, and He will lead you and guide you. Now, incorporating children into ministry, it takes prayer, one thing, because we got to remember that children think a little different from adults. We had time to know what we know. They're learning what they're learning. So therefore, I feel like we have to practice autonomy, giving them a right to make decisions. Well, not to decide whether they're going to church or not, but to decide what they're going to do in church. I feel that when you allow them to embrace what it is that they want to do, they're going to do it freely, and they're going to do it effectively, because they're not made to do it. Now, I just feel that when you allow children to embrace their strengths and the things that they know to do, you're going to get great rewards from that. Because we all work from our places of strength. We all work from our places that you know, are quality strength. So therefore, we have to allow children to do the same. Sometimes I find that parents force their children to do certain things in the church. I don't necessarily agree with that, but every situation is different. But what I do agree with is that sometimes children need that extra push, that extra to do the things that they can do, and they may not do it because of fear. They may not do it because of shame, or they may not do it because they just don't want to do it. But so in those cases, you find out, you talk to them. That's when you talk to them. You talk to them. They are people, and they have desires just like we do. And we talk those things through to decide what is it that gives you the greatest heart reward. What gives you your greatest smile? What gives you your greatest joy? You know, some may say, I want to play the drums. Some may say, I want to play the keyboard. And those are the times when you try to pray them through those areas, and then get them equipped to do the things that is that they desire to do. So the struggle is helping them to identify what it is that they desire to do, and then going forth and equipping them with the things that they want to do, and giving them the resources, the strength, the prayer, the encouragement to go forth.
I don't feel like I was forced. I remember when I was in high school and I was a part of the dance team, and like on Fridays we had Friday night service, but my mom allowed me to be a part of the band and go to their games. So I was able to do everything I wanted to outside of church, and as long as it didn't conflict with Sunday, because of course I wanted to be there on Sunday. But we did have that leeway of being able to do football and sports and be regular kids.
Yeah. Absolutely. Building who you are, and you're gonna have time to do church, most certainly. But you never, you know, like on certain days you were there. On Sundays you were there. Nights that you weren't in practice, you were at church. So it has to have a balance, and church is not only in the four walls in the building. So therefore, you know, you have to teach that balance, that even if you're not in the building, that God is still in you. And so we have to teach children that they need God, whether they're in the building or whether they're on the football field or whether they're on the dance team, wherever they are, they need God, and they need supportive parents. With boundaries and priorities, you have to have that, and you teach those early. You teach those when children are very young. You teach boundaries, healthy boundaries, and healthy priorities, and why it's important to have priorities, and so you teach that through the different stages and milestones of a child's life, and it will grow with them until adulthood, because as they begin to age and they begin to grow, the priorities and the boundaries, they begin to expand, and they begin to look a little different. So I will say that you start those boundaries early, you know, teaching them like little kids, no, you can't have that, or no, you can't sit here, or no, you need to be quiet in this setting. You're teaching them early boundaries and priorities, cleaning your room, picking up your toys behind yourself. You're getting another toy, put that one up. You're teaching them priority. It's time for you gotta eat before you play. But you teach it in stages according to how they can understand. And so when they flow into adulthood, they grow up knowing that they gotta have boundaries, and they most important, you're gonna have to have priorities in life. It's a beautiful question, and I do not mind answering that question, because I'm getting ready to do some self-care once we finish this, and I absolutely love to eat. I love to go, I love to dine, I love to shop. So it's very important for everybody. I don't care who you are. It's important that you take time out for you. Take time out for self-care. Do some things you like. I know when you all were younger, I couldn't do all that going out and shopping and stuff as I do now. But before then, what I used to love to do is reading. I will find me nice books that I love to read, and I would just read in my spare time. That was self-care for me, taking myself out of my moment and out of my life and putting myself in somebody else's. So I love reading. That was my self-care. So self-care doesn't have to be expensive. Whatever it is that you like to do, whether you like to sew, whether you like to read, whether you like to cook, whatever it is, immerse yourself in something that makes you happy. What makes me happy may not make you happy, but immerse yourself in something that makes you happy, that gives you joy, that take your mind off life cares, and just enjoy your moments and make it intentional. Have self-care.
And I want to add too, when I first had Tiana, my self-care was taking showers. Like to take a good shower was everything to me. But I think it grows because now my self-care is cleaning up. Like getting home and cleaning up relieves a lot of stress for me. So I think it constantly evolves, and it's like a list that just keeps on adding on. So,
I absolutely agree with that. I will say, like you said, it is ever evolving me, because like I said, as when y'all were younger, it was one thing, and it was, then when y'all begin to get older, it changed because the opportunities and the doors begin to open. So I just did different things for self-care, and as a mom of adult children and grandchildren, it's still evolving, it's still changing, because now I have to find time, for my grandkids and keep them some weekends. So it's even more pressure to have self-care. So it's ever evolving. You find that thing that make you happy. I love traveling. I absolutely love going out of the state, going out of the country. I love traveling. That's another form of self-care that I absolutely make sure gets done every year, a few times a year. So do what makes you happy, and do it and make it intentional.
Some advice you would give to us new moms for this new generation and generations to come?
Try to model nobody else's family. Be your own original, because what worked for somebody else's family may not work for your family. Find out what works for you. Just stay prayerful. Keep God in the forefront. Continue to read His Word and see what His Word has to say concerning you and your children. And regardless of how pressure it seems sometimes, and sometimes it may seem overwhelming, you're gonna get through this, because God bless you with that child. He's gonna give you every resource to be able to take care of that child or children. So don't get drowned in the daily tasks that you have to do. Don't get drowned in what it requires to be a parent, because you have absolutely what you need to be the greatest parent that you can be for your child. Learn how to walk in your own lane and be your own person and be you. Be authentic.
Yeah, guys, I enjoyed you all, and I thank you all for coming on and enjoying this video with my mother. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Mom, we thank you for coming on and joining us for a series, a Let's Talk series. And we appreciate all the advice, and we pray that God pours back into her everything she poured out.
Well, thank you. I pray I said something that was helpful for somebody, and you all enjoy the rest of your day. Have an amazing day. Bye.